So, hello everybody and welcome. Yes, welcome back here at BSN Network. Cuckoo back here, BSN Network. This is the BSN Network podcast here today. It is Friday, March 18th. Hope everybody's having a day so far and a good rest of their day yesterday. It is, in fact, Friday, March 18th here today, coming off another big night last night in sports, a very painful night last night in the world of sports as Kentucky, number 2 Kentucky, ends their season with an early end to St. Peter's Peacocks, based in Jersey City. Just a frustrating game, wild one. It's just bad. It wasn't good. It was just, it's just not the way you wanted your season to come to an end. And we were much better than what we showed last night. It was one of those games where you get caught looking ahead, you don't play your game, and we got crushed. And that's the real legit. That's really what came down to. We played terrible. We were awful. And there's no other way to put it. There's no sugarcoating it. Kentucky was terrible from the start to the finish, really. I know it was tie game. We had a nice lead and stuff at points where, 8-point lead, 3 minutes to go and all that. But throughout the game, you should not be that close against St. Peter's. They're a 15-seed team coming out of the MAC conference. You are a number 2 seed. You're a blue blood school. You're number 2 ranked Kentucky. You are some of the most talented players in the nation are on your team. You should not have to go into overtime, number 1. And number 2, there is no excuses of why Kentucky lost yesterday. There should be no reasons. There's no reason. There should be no excuses. Oh, this or that. No. Kentucky played terrible. They were bad in overtime. 1 of 6 from the free throw line. If that doesn't show you that they deserve to lose that game, I don't know what does. And John Calipari nailed it on the head. They deserve to lose. They did not play well. St. Peter's came to play. They were the team playing looser and, have more energy, more excitement. Kentucky was the team that was tense, stiff, looked like everything they were doing was so difficult. And it was terrible. It was bad. And last night their season comes to an abrupt end in Indianapolis, first round exit. So we saw a 12 over a 5. We saw New Mexico State, which was a 13 over a 4, or I believe New Mexico State, the rankings on here are so hard to see. I believe it was 13 Mexico State over 5 UConn. And then then obviously we had number 12 Richmond over number 4 Iowa. And Gonzaga ended up crushing Georgia State. One of Georgia State's key players, which I didn't know at the time, got hurt. And then they got dominated in the second half. They blew them out by, I think, 20 or 30. So the second half kind of was all Gonzaga and Georgia State, even though they were only down by 2 at halftime. Ended up getting blown out thanks to a big 18-0 run with 5 minutes to play for Gonzaga. So Kentucky season comes to an end, and now we wait to Big Blue Madness in October to get the season rolling again. So we got obviously a lot more college basketball. I love March Madness. I'm going to continue to watch it, obviously, but it's always painful whenever your team's not involved, especially if your team, I think it's worse to have your team lose like Kentucky did last night than it is to not even make it. Last year, the fact that Kentucky made it was obviously tough, but you got over it. The way we lost last night, I'd rather not make the tournament than lose like we did last night. Not only just from a fan's perspective, it's less pain and you don't, you're just frustrated, but from just a team perspective, you get made fun of. The team, people are making jokes. You lost to St. Peter's. That should not that's going to go down as one of the bigger upsets, not only in Kentucky history, but one of the bigger upsets in college basketball history. It's only the 10th time in March Madness history that a number 15 seed beat a number 2 seed. Last year was Ohio State losing to Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts made that run. So now let's see if St. Peter's can make a run. Tomorrow they'll be playing Murray State, who had the very good game after Kentucky. But tough loss, tough way to end the season. I might do a season recap. I'm so disgusted with the way the game went yesterday, so I don't even know if I'm going to do a season recap. It's just terrible. Yesterday kind of summed up why Kentucky didn't win, and yesterday kind of was just awful. It wasn't it really wasn't like we were playing against this great team, and it was St. Peter's. We just did not. We came out flat, and there's no other way to put it. We came out flat. We took them lightly We took them for granted. We took it as a 2 seed versus 15 seed. Oh, we were going to crush them. And we came out flat and we got dominated. And that's the reality. And you get dominated, you lose. You go 1 of 6 from the free throw line in overtime. You're going to lose a game by 6. I mean, there's no other way to put it, no matter if you're playing the 15 seed or if you are the 15 seed playing the 2 seed. If you go 1 of 6 from the free throw line, turn the ball over, make bad passes, not hit your threes, take bad contested shots, you're not going to win the game. Fundamental of basketball, Kentucky did not do any of that yesterday. Kentucky did all of that yesterday. Didn't do any of the good stuff. So, tough loss for Kentucky, and now we move on with the March Madness without Big Blue Nation involved. All right, so a lot to get to today. We got Nets and Trailblazers tonight. We got some Rangers lost last night to the Islanders. Really tough one. It's just, yet again, I mean, we only score 1 goal. You're not going to win. It's tough to win. And these are the type of games where, as a Ranger fan, you have some of those games where you score 4 or 5 goals and you look like, wow, this team's legit. And then as a Ranger fan, you also see these games where you lose 2-1 and it's like, what's going on here? Kreider did score his 40th goal of the season, so that was good. Tonight we only got 2 games on. No hockey tonight for the New York sports. We got 2 basketball games. Both are home. Nets host the Trailblazers, and the Knicks are back at home against the Wizards. So Knicks look to extend their win streak to 2 games now, and the Nets look to bounce back from a tough buzzer beater heartbreaker on Wednesday night against the Mavericks. Obviously, Dinwiddie sinking the 3 to win, so let's see if they can bounce back tonight at home against a Trailblazers team that's had a really, really tough year and coming off a really bad 30-point loss to the New York Knicks at the Garden. All right, so let's get to the podcast topics for today. We got 2 topics, and then we're going to get to the New York sports update. I'm going to start off the video today talking about Davante Adams and the trade. Davante Adams has been sent from the Green Bay Packers to the Las Vegas Raiders in a blockbuster deal. Wild deal. I can't believe it happened. I was watching the Kentucky game, and I get the notification on my phone, and I'm like, on top of March Madness and Kentucky playing, and at the time, Kentucky game was still close. It was early, though. On top of all that, and then you add on Davante Adams getting traded for the Raiders, it's just like, wow. And this is one of these type of moves that's like a jaw-dropping move. It's like, I don't think anybody saw this coming. I don't think fans saw it coming. Rodgers, supposed reports say Rodgers knew it was going to happen. But boy, oh boy, the Packers lose a big-time receiver. And I think one of the best, if not the best receiver in the NFL is going to Las Vegas to team up with former teammate Derek Carr. And I'm going to tell you why the AFC West is officially now the most stacked division in football. Then we're going to get to the Yankees Spring Training. Yesterday there were some positives. Today they start up Spring Training. I don't think today's game's televised. I think Sunday's game is televised. Spring training schedules are so weird. They're not all televised. It's kind of disappointing because a couple years ago, they used to be all televised. All the games would be televised. All the games, you could watch them. And now it's not like they're not all televised anymore. It's super, super weird. But they play today against the Pirates. Mets will start up. I believe the Mets start up tomorrow. Yesterday, spring training started yesterday. So even just watching some of the highlights yesterday was nice, just to see some baseball back in action. Mets will be in action. I believe tomorrow they'll be against the Nationals tomorrow. So they'll start up their spring training games tomorrow. Yankees start up theirs today against the Pirates at their spring training facility. I'm assuming somewhere in Tampa. I don't know where all these team spring training facilities is. I was going to say Pirates in Pittsburgh, but that's obviously not the case. Anyway, then we'll get to the New York sports update. So, tonight, like I said, today, finally baseball. So we got Yankees, we got Yankee Spring Training, we got Nets, Knicks, both hockey teams after a close one last night between each other, 2-1 Isles. Both have a day off today. All right, so a lot to get to today. This is BSN Podcast, and let's get into it. All righty, so report Davante Adams traded to Raiders from Packers, signs 5-year, $141.3 million contract, and boy, oh boy, we got ourselves a massive trade that I don't think any fan saw coming. Obviously, the two organizations, reports say Aaron Rodgers knew it was going to happen. Reports do say that this has been something that's been going on for a long time. But none of us fans could have predicted that. And Davante Adams, one of the best, if not the best, I think he is the best receiver in the NFL. I think he's overtook DeAndre Hopkins. the best receiver in the NFL, is going from Green Bay, going away from Aaron Rodgers, and now going to Las Vegas in a blockbuster trade. And Green Bay gets some picks. I'll reveal that all to you. But I'm just shocked because you have Aaron Rodgers come back, and it's like, wow, Aaron Rodgers is back with the Packers. They're going to bring everybody back. You're going to see, Davante Adams is going to return. Rodgers is already back, and they're going to try to run it. They're going to try to run it all back and win a Super Bowl. And now we see it's like, wow, Aaron Rodgers is back. Davante Adams doesn't want to play under the franchise tag. Packers trade Adams, and you look at the Raiders now. Davante Adams, Darren Waller, Hunter Renfrow, Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs. They got a lethal offense because you had not just a number one receiver in Vegas, but you had the best receiver in the NFL to Las Vegas's roster. And that this is a move. We talk about it a lot of times. This is a move for the Raiders that makes a team go from about here, where the Raiders are, a solid team, playoff team, maybe not being able to get to that next level, to a team that can win that game in Cincinnati that they lost last year, can go on the road and win that wild card game, can host a playoff game, can win their division, can be in the true contention for getting to the Super Bowl. And now with this deal, it's like this deal takes them from where they're at last year, which is borderline playoff team, just squeaked in, lost to Cincinnati, to now being one of those teams that you got to watch out for because you have Derek Carr, you have Josh Jacobs, you have Darren Waller, Kenyon Drake, you add Davante Adams, Hunter Renfrow, a really nice offense and a defense with some nice pieces as well. And on top of that, you sign him to a massive 5-year, $141.3 million contract extension. So you gave him his money. You gave him what he wanted. He didn't want to play under the franchise tag in Green Bay. And now you bring him in, and you got your number one receiver. And for the Packers, this is like, wow. Because now with the Packers, it's like Aaron Rodgers returns. He was obviously aware of it. But look at the Packers receiving core now. It's Allen Lazard. He's okay. Randall Cobb, some other dude, a random tight end that's not Robert Tonyan, and Aaron Rodgers. Now Rodgers is working with a roster that's like in shambles. Like now you're looking at the Packers roster and it's like, what's going on here? And you look at the Raiders roster, and this is one of these deals, similar to the Seahawks-Broncos deal, when you have this blockbuster deal. One team got a whole lot better, and the other team got a whole lot worse. Because I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to be without Davante Adams. I don't know what that offense is going to be without Davante Adams. I don't think you're going to fully realize how big Davante Adams is to a roster once you see what he does with the Raiders and once you see the hole that it creates in Green Bay. Because he's been dominant there for so many years. Second round pick. Him and Rodgers built chemistry earlier on, continue to build it, coming off just another great season, a year in and year out, putting up big time numbers. I mean, year in and year out, always has to be in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year, always in the conversation for Best Receiver of the Year, leading the league in touchdowns, leading the league in receiving yards, always in the conversation every single season. And I think one of the big reasons why, and I'm not taking anything away from Aaron Rodgers, but I think one of the big reasons why Aaron Rodgers has had so much success winning the past 2 NFL MVPs as he gets up in there in age is because he's had a guy to his disposal like, Davante Adams. And now he doesn't. And now you look at that Packers receiving core and it's bland. It's bad. It's not good. It is, if you couldn't get to the top with Davante Adams, you're probably not going to be able to get anywhere close to the top without him. Because now Aaron Rodgers, who's only getting older, only getting up there in age, hasn't shown any signs of slowing down, but maybe he does now. And you gotta honestly say it. The NFC is in such a weird position. The Packers division, the NFC is in such an odd position because you look at the NFC North, which is what the Packers are in. It's Packers, Vikings, Bears, Lions. And last season it was so lopsided. You had the Packers went 13-4, Vikings were 8-9, Bears were 6-11, Lions, as we all know, all the way at the bottom, with the laughingstock of the league at 3-13-1. Now with Davante Adams going, Kirk Cousins come back. This division could make the division winner coming out of the NFC North could very easily be the Packers at 9-8. 9-8 might be the division winner in the NFC North, because the Bears are in another year of a rebuild. Lions, who even know where they're going? I mean, I think Dan Campbell's not a bad coach, but what do you have in golf? What all is your receiving core? Amon St. Brown has shown some promise, but can he do it consistently? What's your defense? There's so many holes on that roster that they need to fill. It's so questionable. Bears are obviously in a rebuild. And, the Vikings are not bad, but they went 8-9 last season. Are the Packers this season going to go 9-8? I mean, is the division winner in the NFC North going to go 9-8, 8-9? What's this going to be like? Like, the Packers, I can guarantee you, are not going to go 13-4 without Davante Adams. And I find it so interesting that Aaron Rodgers is okay with this, because he signed a massive, 4-year extension, and now it's like Davante Adams goes, and look at what Aaron Rodgers is working with. He's working with a bunch of and I don't want to be negative by this, but other than Allen Lazard, and Allen Lazard's not your typical number one receiver. I mean, the drop-off from Davante Adams to Allen Lazard, you can't even make that comparison. I mean, if Packers fans say want to make yourself feel better, sure, go ahead, make it, but it's not going to come anywhere close. The drop-off from where Davante Adams is, where he's an elite receiver, to where Allen Lazard is, where he's a solid receiver, number 2, number 3 on a contending team, to now asking Allen Lazard to do what Davante Adams did, is just out of this world. It's not proportional. So the Packers are in a very weird situation, because you have Aaron Rodgers and you don't got anybody around him. And maybe Rodgers works up some magic. But what? Is it going to be Randall Cobb that's going to save the day? Randall Cobb's not the same player he once was. He's out of his prime. He's old. He showed it last season. And for the Raiders, you won this trade 100%. Because you had Derek Carr the Raiders all this time were kind of that one guy away. That one guy away from being their true number one. They thought they had it in Antonio Brown. Obviously, that completely blew up in their face. Never happened. They brought in some different pieces. Darren Waller has been a nice piece. They've always been missing that kind of one guy that they can truly rely on. Well, today, Raiders and Raiders fans, you got that one guy. And that is Davante Adams. And, you sign him to a massive deal. Him and Derek Carr are already teammates, so they already have chemistry there. I think Davante Adams is truly happy. From what I'm hearing, is it got real ugly in Green Bay where he didn't want to play under the franchise tag, and rightfully so. And look, that's the Packers' fault. That's Aaron Rodgers' fault. Not taking a pay cut, wanting all the money. Packers just didn't have enough cap space, didn't have enough money to give to Davante Adams, because Aaron Rodgers stole it all. And Aaron Rodgers kind of put himself in this situation a little bit, because he's so selfish. He's all about himself. All he wants is all the money, and now you lose your number one receiver because there's nothing left to give him. And I think it's really going to show. And like I said, I'm not taking anything away from, Rodgers or anything because when he did win that Super Bowl, they did not have Davante Adams, but they had Jordy Nelson, guys like that who are all in their prime. But I think this is really going to show this season the Packers are going to not even be anywhere close to the team that we all expect them to be without Davante Adams. Because Davante Adams has been carrying that load, been a huge part of that. And as Rodgers continues to go up and up and up in age, he's only going to get worse and worse and worse. And if you don't have a number one receiver that's really good, it's bad. It's bad. So Green Bay, I don't want to say the rebuild started, because I don't think it did, but it's close to it. Now the last domino to fall is Aaron Rodgers, and they'll be really in a bad spot. And now you look at the AFC West, and the AFC West is just a dominant division. Chiefs, you got Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. Okay, Raiders, you got Davante Adams, Darren Waller, Derek Carr. Chargers, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler. And the Broncos, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, Russell Wilson. Look at that division. Just look at the 4 quarterbacks and the number one receiver. Just look at the 4 quarterbacks and the number one receivers. It's 4 quarterbacks are Mahomes, Carr, Herbert, Wilson, Russell Wilson. The 4 number one receivers, Tyreek Hill, Davante Adams, Keenan Allen, and add Jerry Jeudy to the mix. You can make the argument maybe it's Tim Patrick. I would say Jerry Judy's the number 1 there in Denver. Jeudy or Courtland Sutton. You could go either way, but I'm going to go with Jeudy. Judy and Son, you could add those both to the list. So, just look at the 4 quarterbacks. And now look at their weapons. The AFC West is stacked. It's just going to be... Because look at the AFC West anyway. This season, you had 2 teams come out of there. 12-5 Chiefs, 10-7 Raiders. The Chargers went 9-8, missed out, and the Broncos went 7-10. Automatically, Broncos are not going to go 7-10. You're going to have to probably flip the Broncos record. Go ahead and say the Broncos go 10-7. And the Chargers probably go 10-7 as well. And the Raiders go, 12-5 maybe now. Chiefs 13-4, something like that. That's your division. The last place team might finish with 10 wins in that division. To even just think about that. The last place team in the AFC West this year might finish with 10 wins. Might finish with 9 wins. In other divisions, 9 wins is good for second place. In some, 9 wins might be good for first place, NFC North, or NFC East, depending on how things play out there, with the Cowboys losing some pivotal pieces this offseason. So, the AFC West is nasty. And just to continue to just repeat myself of how stacked the AFC is in general and how the NFC is getting weaker and weaker, AFC, you start off with the East. You have Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. The rest of the AFC East is interesting. You got to see. The rest of the AFC East is so interesting. We still don't know fully what Mac Jones is. Tua is a big question mark, and Wilson, is only going into his second season like Mac Jones. We still got to see what they're all capable of. So the AFC East is a weird position. AFC West, just read it to you. Carr, Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, Davante Adams, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, and, you add on to the list now, Davante Adams, Tyreek Hill, all those guys. AFC North, Bengals. AFC North's a little bit of an interesting situation, but the AFC North is very uneven. It's 2 good teams and 2 teams that are in odd spots. Bengals, you have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, no concern there. Steelers, you brought in Mitch Trubisky, which I really disagree with, but it is what it is. Browns, you got the whole Baker Mayfield situation, but the Ravens, you got Mark Andrews, Hollywood Brown and Lamar Jackson, you're doing perfectly fine there. Go to the AFC South. AFC South's interesting. Titans with Tannehill, I know they just got rid of Julio Jones. You still have A.J. Brown and stuff like that. Derrick Henry, you can never count the Titans out. They're always going to be in it as long as Derrick Henry's, on that team. The rest of the division's kind of murky. It's kind of cloudy. It's Colts is 9-8 because Colts last season went 9-8. Colts are a weird team, 50-50. Do they go out and trade for Matt Ryan? Do they go out and trade for Baker Mayfield? Do they make do they go out and trade for Deshaun Watson? I think they're out on him. I'm not sure, but Colts, interesting situation. Texans as well, weird situation. And the Jaguars, Texans, Davis Mills, we'll see. And the Jaguars too. And they went out and overspent a lot of money, but they brought in some pieces, and we'll see what Lawrence can do. So, but a lot of good quarterbacks. You talk about, Josh Allen, Derek Carr, Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson. And the possibility of maybe Deshaun Watson coming to the AFC is just... It's really pretty crazy. And Davante Adams going to the AFC not only makes the Raiders stronger, not only makes the AFC stronger, but makes the AFC West a division that's going to be so exciting to follow, come this season up in 2022. The crazy thing, and we thought the NFC West was good. And by the way, the NFC West is very good. But you have the potential. Now let me read you the NFC West. The NFC West this season, the last seed was 7-10. 12-5, 11-6, 10-7. 3 of the 4 teams clinched. I think the AFC West might even be better than that. The last seed might go 9-8. Just to put that in perspective, it's just wild. You can't. It really is. It really is pretty crazy. So, anyway, let's read this quick article here. On the Davante Adams trade, also wanted to give you some stats just to go to show you how dominant he is. Not that, anybody really needs to know because he is the best receiver in football. So, Davante Adams traded to the Raiders. Traded to Raiders from the Packers, and he has signed a new 5-year, $141.3 million contract with the Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders acquired Davante Adams for the Green Bay Packers in exchange for a 2022 first-round pick and a 2022 second round, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. As a part of the trade, Adams will sign a 5-year, $141.25 million contract per NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. This comes after the Packers placed a franchise tag on Adams earlier this month after the two sides were unable to reach a long-term deal. However, he reportedly informed the team earlier this week he wouldn't play under the tag. According to Rob Devonte of ESPN, Green Bay was willing to offer Adams the same contract as Las Vegas, but the wideout preferred to play elsewhere. Rappaport also noted that quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who recently signed a reported 3-year, $150.8 million contract, was aware that Adams would not be returning to the team. So he is aware. I know that created a lot of media, and I was interested too right when that deal went down. What does Rodgers think? Because he came back. Adams has been the NFL's most productive receiver of the past half decade, creating a connection with Rodgers that has allowed him to thrive despite constantly changing group of fellow pass catchers around him in Green Bay. The 29-year-old ranks second in receptions, 506, first in receiving yards, 6,195, and first in touchdown catches, 57, over the past 5 years. Adams is coming off a 2021 season in which he posted career-high totals in catches, 123, and yards, 1,553, while finding the end zone 11 times in 16 games. In December, Rodgers called his favorite target the best player I've ever played with. Sentiment the Fresno State product deeply appreciated. Adams has never featured blazing speed by the NFL standards. He's posted a 4.56 second 40-yard dash at the 2014 scouting combine, but his combination of agility, route running skills, and hands have allowed him to build a Hall of Fame resume. Those traits tend to endure, which gives him a great chance to remain a high-impact player well into his 30s. He's earned 5 Pro Bowl appearances and 2 first-team All-Pro selections across 8 seasons with the Packers. Let's see here. It's got to load. Okay, Adams moved to the Raiders marks the second straight offseason. One of the top receivers of the generation switched teams. Julio Jones was traded to the Tennessee Titans last year. Like Jones, it'll take a while to get used to seeing the California native in a new jersey. The veteran wide receiver will slot in as the top target for Derek Carr alongside wideout Hunter Henry and tight end Darren Waller. Meanwhile, the Packers now have a massive void to fill at wide receiver while still trying to settle the future of Rodgers, who likely won't be happy about his longtime teammates' exit. So it really is just interesting. This is mind-boggling to me because he comes back and it's like you're going to run it back. And obviously Davante Adams, had different plans. And I don't blame Devonte. I really don't. And I don't know if this is all true, but maybe he wanted to get out of there to get out of the whole drama around Rodgers. That could be some of it too. All it is in Green Bay is just drama. Oh, where's Rodgers going? Rodgers this, Rodgers that. It's ridiculous. Rodgers making all these statements. It's like, I think Davante Adams, especially after yet again another NFC Championship game exit, it's like, I think yet again, the Packers are in a situation, it's getting in a situation where Davante Adams wants to win. He wants to go to a team that he believes can get past the championship game for the respective league. And he also wants to go to a team that drama is going to kind of be free. And I know Green, I shouldn't be saying that because Raiders have had a ton of drama with their roster. But bringing a new coach, get those guys out of there, and you move on from it. But it's just like new. It's almost like a new building thing for the Raiders. Like kind of just restart it. The whole Gruden situation, all that, players, this Henry Ruggs, and all the craziness that happened off the field. You bring in a new coaches, his staff. Kind of clear house, get rid of Mayock, get rid of Gruden, bring in McDaniels, and so on and so forth. It's kind of a new start, and it's for Adams, it's like a fresh start. And gosh, the AFC West is just going to be good. It's going to be really, really good, and it's going to be fun to watch. I'm just glad that the Jets aren't in a division because I can now officially say this. Bills are very good in the AFCs. We all know that. Dolphins, who knows where they're going. I think the Jets actually have a straighter path than the Dolphins do, I personally believe. That's just my opinion. Not going to go into details. But I think the Jets, if I had to choose one team, like I'm taking my fandom completely out of this. If I had to choose one team to root for in terms of what I think is going to have more success in the next 5 years, I would choose the Jets. I think the Jets have a clear path than the Dolphins do, because the Dolphins just hired a new coach. They still don't know what's going to happen with Tua. There's still so many questions on that roster, and it's like Tua's your biggest thing. Like, if Tua's not the guy, you set your franchise back another year. Jets finally got their guy, at least we hope. Saw some good things. Brought in some new pieces. But I'm just so glad that the Jets are not in a division with Mahomes, Herbert, Derek Carr, or Russell Wilson. We're in a division with Josh Allen, and that's bad enough. We're also in a division where New England, or no matter how bad they are, how good they are, they're always going to beat us. But at least I think we're better than the Dolphins personally. So either way, that will do it for this topic here. I just wanted to read you some quick stats, and then we'll officially move on to the Yankee Spring Training game today. Spelled Davante Adams wrong. All right. So Davante Adams last season had 123 receptions. That was second in the NFL. 1,553 yards. That was third in the NFL. 11 touchdowns. That was fifth in the league. Played 16 games last year. And, really just amazing receiver. 8,121 yards. And he's 29 years old. So 5-year deal, it takes him until he's 34. That's just about right. Very, very good player. That Davante Adams. Anyway, so let's get to the New York Yankees and their game today. Also, their game today, and also rest of spring training, and kind of give you an update, and also give you some Luke Voigt news. We'll get to that and much more coming up next. All right, so welcome you back here up on the BSN podcast today. It is Friday, March 18th. Got the Yankees on today. Had some March Madness continues. By the way, today the March Madness games go from 12 to 9. I was going to say 9 to 12. I didn't mean that. 12 p.m., noon, all the way up until like 9:57 Eastern, I think is the last game. So just yet again, more games today. A lot more games today. Exciting games, hopefully. Hopefully we see some more upsets, because at this point, no more upsets can involve Kentucky, because they got upset last night, which was brutal. But I would love to see some more upsets. I would love to see, I'm still holding hope that maybe we get a 16 seed knocking off a 1 seed. And now that Kentucky's eliminated, I know some people have already asked me who I'm rooting for. I'm not really rooting for anybody at this point. I mean, my bracket's already completely busted, so I'm not really rooting for anybody. I'm just rooting for. Usually, I pick a team whenever the finals come. Usually, I go ride with a team there. But I would probably roll with. I would love to see like a 16 seed or one of these lower seeds make a run. Like, I think it would be funny to see New Mexico State go on a run. Richmond, not St. Peter's, no, because they beat us. So I can't root for them unless if they get to like the Final Four. That would be funny. Loyola Chicago is always a good one. That's always like a staple where, always got to pull for Loyola no matter how good or bad they are. Always a fun team to watch. They're a team that you always got to have on your bracket as, they're always a bracket buster. So, anyway, let's get to the Yankee Spring Training. This is going to be a quick topic, kind of just talking about their schedule leading up into April 7th and kind of just updates. So, yesterday they did some hitting, which was good, and saw some live ABs. Gleyber Torres had a nice home run. Anthony Rizzo had a nice home run. So definitely saw some positives. Like I said, there's still so many holes to this roster. And I don't want to sound negative going into this season like I've given up on the year, because I haven't. I'm super pumped up for the season, and I'm hoping that, this roster Maybe this roster, when the expectations aren't there, maybe this is when this roster thrives, and that very well could be, because we've had very high expectations for the last couple seasons. Maybe a season like this where the expectations aren't as high, we have a very good year. But there's still very holes on this roster, and we just have to hope as Yankee fans that these holes get ironed out and these holes not turn into aren't holes, right? And I know that might sound very confusing, but it's you got to hope that you get good performances out of these guys. And, maybe we get rid of Luke Voit. Padres are eyeing him. It's looking like the Yankees are currently looking to trade him. I'd love to bring in Frankie Montas or Sean Manaea or somebody like that, a lefty pitcher in Manaea who, is young, got a lot of upside, could be a guy to definitely add to your rotation and only create more depth at the starter spot, which I think is huge for this team, especially if we want to go deep and if we want to make a playoff run. And I think the biggest thing with the Yankees is wild card, game. I mean, we lost there last season, and I think the big reason was pitching. We definitely need a little bit better pitching. I mean, Cole's at the top of the rotation, and then behind Cole you have Severino, who you got to be hopeful about, but he's still coming off of Tommy John. And I believe Severino will be perfectly fine. I believe he will. I mean, I think he just has the talent. I don't think he will have any issue. But still, you always got to put that in question. I mean, some guys react differently. It's really just how your body is. Everybody's body's different. Some guys react to Tommy John surgery and come back and dominate. Some guys come back and stink. It's really just how your body is, how you react, and that's really the whole thing. So it's definitely going to be interesting. But, we've seen some good things out of Rizzo. Glaber seems to hit the ball pretty well. And these spring training games are big because I think you're going to see, some of these other prospects, really try to make a name for themselves and see, where they fall in terms of minor leagues. Because I definitely think the Yankees are kind of taking that road right now of they're going to look to bring up some of these young guys next season or even the year after that, and they're going to have to be able to prove themselves. And that's really where we're at. But, you got to just hope that this thing works out for the Yankees because, they've got a lot of roster situations where it could be really bad, and there's also some situations where it could be really good. I mean, you look at Joey Gallo. The really good thing could be he turns into the Joey Gallo that we saw in Texas, and that was pre-Yankee trade, a guy who hit 30, 40 home runs a year, was in the home run derby, and drove in runs and was a power hitter. Or we could get the Joey Gallo that we got last season where he batted 160 and was striking out every at-bat. Injuries, health. Are we going to get the roll of this Chapman sticky stuff ban where he was dominating and had an ERA below 2? Or are we going to get the Chapman post that where he was blowing saves left and right, letting up grand slams in the 11th inning after rain delays? So there's so many questions, there's so many things, and we're going to get answers. But you really got to hope that this spring training goes smoothly, no guys get hurt, no guys get injured. And we go into the season just with the roster out. The roster, there still needs to be changed to the roster. I can't disagree. I can't say that more, but I don't think the Yankees are going to make any more moves. I think we probably will trade Voit, I'd assume. But what's going to be the return for him? Are we going to get anything major? Are we going to get a massive return for him? Is it going to be, a massive haul? I mean, I don't think so. I mean, Luke Voigt's an average base. He's an average player. I don't think he's a household name by any means by any team. So what are we going to get in return for him? So it's just a weird situation. I just hope it works out. I really do hope it works out. But, there is a lot of risks that the Yankees are taking. Aaron Hicks, Gallo, Chapman, not helping your pitching staff. I mean, there's definitely some risk. Catching. I mean, is Higgy going to be the Higgy that we see sometimes where he fills in and has really good games, or is he going to be the Higgy that we saw last year where when he plays extended periods of time, he's not that good? So there's just many questions, and I wish the Yankees would address these needs rather than go into the offseason hoping. Like, the Yankees are in a situation right now where they're crossing their fingers, hoping that all these needs, all these guys pan out, and they go and they do what they wanted them to do. But there's that very real possibility that they don't pan out, and it's not good. Where Gallo's not playing well, Hicks is hurt. The catcher position's still bad. Bullpen's bad. Pitching staff outside of Cole and Sevy are bad. That's the big issue. And I wish the Yankees would address that more, but they haven't. They made, trade, which was interesting. Didn't see that coming. Made a couple signings, brought back Rizzo. Now looks like they're going to trade Voit. They're going to leave the outfield of how it is. Outside of Judge, the outfield's still questioned. I mean, I believe Gallo can turn it around. Hicks, I've kind of completely lost hope on. But, I'm super pumped for baseball season. But what comes with that, too, is there's a lot of risks. And the Yankees are taking a lot of risks. This is a Yankees roster that very easily could eat. This is a Yankees roster that, could very easily just not pan out, and it could be ugly. I think also there's some potential to this roster of, playing well. I mean, you got some pieces on it. So I'm pumped up. Today's first spring training game, and in April 7th, less than a month away, we got baseball. And now it'll be Yankees Red Sox at the stadium. So that's kind of all I wanted to do. I just want to give you a little update on the Yankees and all that. All right, so sorry about that. Sorry for that long pause. My thing here. Apologize for that long pause. That was about 30 seconds. My thing here on my phone, my ESPN app, kind of just like it glitched out, and I lost my Yankees page up here, so I got to get it back. Sorry about that. That sometimes happens to me. But yeah, so Yankees Pirates today. I believe the first televised spring training game is going to be on Saturday, which will be the Yankees will be their first home game at George M. Steinbrenner of the spring on Sunday. And other than that, spring training goes from today, consecutive days. They're spring training games every single day, all the way up into the 5th of April. Then they have a day off on the 6th to head back to New York, and then they play against the Red Sox. And I'll read you the Yankees' April schedule. So they start off with 3 against Red Sox at home, then 4 against the Blue Jays at home. So boom, 7 games right off the bat against AL East opponents. Then you go on the road for 3 in Baltimore, 3 in Detroit. Then you come home to play the Guardians. And then you come home to play 3 against the Guardians, 3 against Baltimore. Then you go on the road to play 3 against Kansas City, which will leak into May. So that's the Yankees' April schedule. So definitely some series that are winnable, and you get 7 tough games. You get 3 to start against the Red Sox, and you get 4 against the Blue Jays. They're all at home, so we'll see. Pumped up for the season, though. Definitely am excited. All right, so that will do it for the Yankee Spring Training. Now let's get to the New York Sports Update. March Madness, I'm just going to read you some of the games today. There's so many. Some of the games today, we got Loyola Chicago, Ohio State, Auburn, Jacksonville State, Texas Tech, Montana State, Purdue, Yale, Villanova, Delaware, USC, Miami, Alabama, Notre Dame, Texas, Virginia Tech, Chattanooga, Illinois, Duke, Cal State, Fullerton, LSU, Iowa State, Arizona, Wright State, Houston, UAB, Michigan State, Davidson, Wisconsin, Colgate, and Seton Hall, TCU will cap off another full day of March Madness. All right, let's get to the NBA, NHL. I'll start with the NHL since there's only, 6 games on tonight. Hurricanes, Capitals, I'll take the Hurricanes. Flyers, Senators, I'll take the Flyers. Bruins, Jets, I'll take the Bruins. Sabres, Flames, I'll take the Sabres. Ducks, Panthers, I'll take the Panthers. And Avalanche, Sharks, I'll take the Avalanche. As for the NBA, we got the 76ers, Mavericks, I'll take the 76ers. Grizzlies, Hawks, I'll take the Grizzlies. Lakers, Raptors, I'll take the Raptors. Nuggets, Cavs, I'll take the Nuggets. Knicks, Wizards, I'll take the Knicks. Pacers, Rockets, I'll take the Pacers. Heat, Thunder, I'll take the Heat. Spurs, Pelicans, I'll take the Spurs. Jazz, Clippers, I'll take the Jazz. And Suns, Bulls, I'll take the Suns. Kings, Celtics, I'll take the Celtics. Nets, Trailblazers on tonight. Nets come into this game 36-34. Trailblazers come into this game 26-42. Nets are big time 14-point favorites. So big 14-point favorites for the Nets tonight. We got 14-point favorites. The over-under is set at 225.5. This game is on tonight, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Yes. 81% of people bet the Nets will win by 14 or more points. I'll take the Nets. And anyway, for fantasy basketball, I'm winning 608 to 436. Today I've got going Donovan Mitchell, Shai Alexander, Desmond Bane, Rashawn Holmes, Nikola Jokic, Tyrese Maxey, John Collins, Sean Morant, Buddy Hield, and Darius Garland. Some injuries. Mitchell's not going to play tonight. Shai Alexander is questionable for tonight's game. John Collins is sidelined, will be out, will be sidelined indefinitely with a torn ligament in his finger. And John Morant's on track to play today. And Brandon Ingram, no updates on him. So he's on my bench right now. We'll see how that all plays out with him. And that will do it for the podcast today. Looking forward to another big weekend. Sadly, no Kentucky basketball this weekend, but we do got a lot of March Madness. So enjoy your weekend. Have a very good weekend, as you all know. Take breaks on the weekend, so I will see you all back here on Monday. As you all know, if you're interested, for the regular Monday through Friday, I'll start off with this. Enjoy all the March Madness. Enjoy the baseball. Enjoy all that. Very exciting weekend. Let the madness of March continue. A lot of great games today, into tomorrow, into the weekend, and all the way into the beginning part of April. So enjoy that. Enjoy your weekend. As always, you all know, Monday through Friday. So I'll see you all back for the regular daily sports podcast here on Monday. And for those of you who are interested, as you all know, I do the Bubs Talking Baseball podcast on Sunday. A lot to talk about on that. So that is on Apple Podcasts if you're interested in checking that out. So Sunday will be my Bubs Talking Baseball podcast. And this podcast, I will see you all back here on Monday. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching.